These were the scenes on the New York subway when Daniel Penny put Jordan Neely, a street performer and houseless man, in a chokehold for nearly 6 minutes. Neely was asking for food and water on the train. While he was mentally unwell, the defense argued per PBS, Neely made alarming gestures and remarks. The two sides would dispute what killed Neely, with prosecutors and activists arguing it was the chokehold put forth by Penny. Then,
a judge has moved to dismiss the top charge in a former Marine subway chokehold trial and is now sending the jury home for the day. Jurors have been struggling to reach a unanimous verdict on the manslaughter charge Daniel Penny was facing. They've been deliberating since Tuesday on whether to convict Penny in the death of Jordan Neely. Now they will come back Monday to decide on the other charge in the trial. Neely, a 30-year-old subway performer, had been struggling with homelessness, mental illness, and drug use. Witnesses say he had gone into a subway car in May of 2023 and began acting erratically.
Daniel Penny, the former Marine charged in the chokehold death of Jordan Neely on a New York City subway last year, was found not guilty of criminally negligent homicide by a Manhattan jury on Monday. This comes after a judge dismissed a second, more serious second-degree manslaughter charge last week after the jury could not come to a verdict.
Visible smiles from Daniel Penny, who has just been acquitted on that second charge, the criminally negligent homicide. At the same time, the father of Jordan Neely, the victim in this case, escorted out of the room after he had an outburst with an expletive inside that courtroom as the verdict was being read.
the reactions?
I just want to say I miss my son. My son didn't have to go through this. I didn't have to go through this either. It hurts. Really, really hurts. What are we going to do, people? What's going to happen to us now? I had enough of this. The system is rigged.
A world of difference.
What's up? Hi, Daniel. What's up? How you feeling?
Great.
Yeah.
He's feeling good. He's feeling good. He's feeling good.
And what's rather on point is this analysis from PBS.
The verdict brings an end to a closely watched trial that touched on questions around public safety, mental health, race, and homelessness.
And then seeing reactions such as this.
It's a good day here in this country that, Daniel Penny got off. And, I love the signal that it sends to, other Americans out there who still have a heart to do the right thing, want to do the right thing. And, they know that there's still a chance that if you find yourself in a situation like that, you can protect, innocent, civilians and not go to jail for the rest of your life.
That man from Congressman Eli Crane, who also said this at one point.
My amendment has nothing to do with whether or not colored people or black people or anybody can serve, okay? It has nothing to do with color
Mr.
of your
Speaker.
skin.
For what purpose does gentlelady seek recognition?
I'd like to be recognized to have the words colored people stricken from the record. I find it offensive and very inappropriate.
Is the gentlelady asking for unanimous consent to take down the words?
I am asking for unanimous consent to take down the words of referring to me or any of my colleagues as colored people.
And then there were more on none other than CNN.
Can't seem to tell the difference between the good guys and the bad guys.
People on the left. I'm asking you whether you consider this person.
We had people praising
I want to know whether you
Penny.
think that, as Congressman Crane does, that Daniel Penny should get the Congressional Gold Medal to recognize his heroism. I'm not asking you about anyone else.
I think he ought to get medal. I think they ought to build a statue to this guy in New York City.
The co-founder of Black Lives Matter New York City spoke on News Nation with Dan Abrams.
So do you not blame Jordan Neely at all? I mean, for what he did? He deserves no blame from your perspective, right?
Did you hear the witness testimony?
I'm asking you a question.
Or are you cherry-picking the ones?
I'm asking you a question. Do you blame Jordan Neely at all for his conduct?
If Jordan Neely was a white man, we'd be saying it was an opioid crisis. He was hungry. He was mentally ill. He had a muffin in his pocket.
I wouldn't be if there were other. What about the witnesses? Let's play again, just so we're clear on the race.
Play Eddie Gibson, who begged Daniel Neely to stop.
Oh, again, but he stayed there throughout the incident.
Play the ones that fit the narrative.
But what's the narrative? There's black women who were on the subway subway. It was mostly people of color on the subway.
What about a white man during cross-examination who said that he was afraid of Daniel Penny, the one who poured water onto his head and said that he was afraid? He was a white man.
Yeah, okay, so...
What about the Latino man who was holding his arms?
I'm not the one identifying everyone by race. You are.
Let's pause here. Abrams, in a clip uploaded by his own network, showed a direct contradiction in about 20 seconds.
Play the ones that fit the narrative.
But what's the narrative? There's black women who were on the subway. It was mostly people of color on the subway.
How could he possibly say, and I quote, "I'm not the one identifying everyone by race," when, again, just about 20 seconds prior, he did just that. Legal analyst Nicole Brennicke told USA Today on how the case covered a variety of topics in modern-day American life. Quote, "This is showing the polarization of society right now because all the issues that society is grappling with came together in this particular case." She'd point to safety on the subway, mental illness, plus the homelessness crisis. Republicans like Ron DeSantis, Matt Gaetz, J.D. Vance, Rudy Giuliani, and that's just to name a few, gave their full-throated support online and through many quotes for Daniel Penny. Then there was this guy, professional golfer Phil Mickelson.
The World Golf Hall of Famer told journalist Alan Shipnuck, the author of an upcoming unauthorized biography of Mickelson, that he would support the new league even though the Saudis are scary to get involved with. "We know they killed Khashoggi and have a horrible record on human rights. They execute people over there for being gay. Knowing this, why would I even consider it? Because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to reshape how the PGA Tour operates. I'm not sure I even want it to succeed, but just the idea of it is allowing us to get things done with the PGA Tour."
Mickelson would be accused of insider trading in Billy Walters' autobiography Gambler: Secrets from a Life at Risk. Walters would allege Mickelson bet more than $1 billion on sports and also attempted to wager on the 2012 Ryder Cup in which he would compete. Mickelson subsequently denied ever betting on the Ryder Cup in a statement to SI. More from SI's write-up. Walters alleged that Mickelson asked San Diego stockbroker Gregory Silvera to transfer, quote, several $1 million, close quote, through his personal bank account to an offshore book to pay off Mickelson's gambling debts. The move triggered a money laundering investigation. It really is no wonder why Lefty would join Live Golf, the Saudi-backed league that attempted to compete with the PGA Tour. They'd fork over a reported $200 million for Mickelson's signature. His pressers?
A few months ago, you were reported as describing the Saudis as scary. What did you mean by that? And if they're that scary, why are you here, given that they're bankrolling this tournament?
Well, certainly I've said and done a lot of things that I regret, and I'm sorry for that and for the hurt that it's caused a lot of people. I don't condone human rights violations at all. I don't think nobody here does, throughout the world.
Really, really bad.
I'm certainly aware of what has happened with Jamal Khashoggi, and I think it's terrible. I've also seen the good that the game of golf has done throughout history, and I believe that Live Golf is going to do a lot of good for the game as well.
But isn't there a danger that you're also being seen as a tool of sports washing, an attempt to try and improve the image of a human rights abusing regime through sport, and that ultimately you could be seen as a Saudi stooge, and that could tarnish your legacy? Is that you comfortable with that?
I said earlier, I don't condone human rights violations. I don't know how I can be any more clear. I understand your question, but again, I love this game of golf. I've seen the good that it's done.
You said something in a Sports Illustrated interview, and you just said it again this morning. What happened to Jamal Khashoggi is awful, but I've seen the game of golf, the good that the game of golf has done throughout history. No matter how successful this tournament could ever be, it can't counteract someone being murdered, can it?
No, nobody here condones human rights violations.
So look, we've seen how indifferent he is to the thing he says he does not condone, which makes his recent tweets rather on point of his character. First, he would retweet this message saying, if Daniel Penny is sent to prison by a jury of majority women, don't ever ask again why men aren't stepping in to protect others on the street/subway. It's simply not worth it in today's society. He agreed with the sentiment from this Trump-supporting idiot Colin Rugg, who wrote, Daniel Penny is a model citizen who should be praised. Lefty added, thank you, Daniel, for serving your country and for protecting the many passengers whose lives were threatened by this violent and deranged individual. He'd fire off another. If a deranged individual threatens to kill you, let's hope there's a Daniel Penny around. After Penny got off, Lefty wrote this as well. Finally, a little common sense. There never should have been a trial. He should be commended for selfless actions to protect the other passengers, and those who brought charges should be out of a job. In a rather non-shocking turn of events,
there's been a stark difference in public and media reaction to the murder of United Healthcare CEO in the Daniel Penny trial. Now, Daniel Penny has been vilified leading up to and after his not guilty verdict. We saw disturbing posters plastered on New York City subway cars referring to the incident as a lynching. Wait for it. The man accused of gunning down United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson is seen by some as a folk hero.
Meanwhile, activist Joshua P. Hill would write on Twitter, Kyle Rittenhouse is allowed to get away with murder. Daniel Penny is allowed to get away with murder. Cops get away with murder all the time. The people pearl clutching about this CEO killing are really concerned with who was killed, not the act of killing. And the always on point Congresswoman Summer Lee, who survived an AIPAC-backed opponent in her most recent election win, well, she shared her thoughts. The acquittal of Daniel Penny in the murder of Jordan Neely is a painful reminder of a long-standing reality. Vigilante violence against black people often goes unchecked. Jordan deserved compassion, not violence. We stand with his loved ones in demanding accountability. And Sol Khan brought it all home. You can be driven into homelessness by someone like Brian Thompson, then legally murdered by someone like Daniel Penny, while the money that could have saved you is spent on murdering children in Gaza. Hey, I appreciate you watching. Now, if you can, please do become a channel member by going to youtube.com/TYTsports and clicking the join button. If that's too much for you, you can just go to tyt.com/join to become a member. It helps all of us out here at the Young Turks and keeps our network afloat. In addition, you could follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate the love. Have a great day.